Okay, hey, this is this is day 5. I just started a 40-day fast. Now, this is not my first 40-day fast. This is actually my third. The first one I did was a little over 8 years ago, and I was going to Bible college, and everybody was doing this fast or 40-day fast or whatever, and I felt like the Lord was leading me to do it too. And so I started my 40-day fast, and I soon learned that not everybody was really doing a 40-day fast because I lost weight so rapidly. And I'm looking around and no one else is losing weight, and I'm thinking, okay, what's up with this? And then I started finding out, oh, I'm doing a juice fast, or I'm doing this fast, or whatever. But they kept coming in and they kept telling, oh, I heard this from God and this great revelation, and all this stuff's coming in. And I'm thinking to myself, well, I'm not hearing nothing. And but around close to the 40th day, I heard God say, go to Africa. So I told my mother, and my mother said, oh, well, you know what, I just heard about this group going to Africa about 3 days ago. So I said, well, sign me up. So anyway, I ended up going to Africa, and it was a great trip, but I met my wife there, and she already knew that she was going to meet her husband. And truthfully, if God had spoke to me and said, you're going to Africa to meet your wife, I wouldn't have went, because I already knew who I was going to marry and already had it planned out and everything else. And so I had to go to Africa to find out that my plans have changed. So now we've been married for almost 8 years. Anyway, in between there, I had done another 40-day fast. And so I am just starting this one. I'm on day 6. And the reason I'm posting this is because I've been watching some of the YouTube videos, and I've been watching what some of the people have been saying. And I watched a lady who went on a 40-day fast like 3 times in a row, and I'm hoping she did kind of like me, where it was spaced out, because that's not healthy. But and the other thing too is, if anybody is going on a 40-day fast, you would think it was because of Jesus, because he's the first one we have that represents 40-day fast, except for Moses did too. But Jesus is the example we all follow. He went up in the wilderness and fasted for 40 days, and that's when he was tempted and everything else. And so you would think that if that's the reason someone's picking a 40-day fast, it would be because of that. And we're not above our master, so we're not expected to try to do more than him. So anyway, I watched what that lady had done, and I will have my email address there if she wants to contact me. I also watched a couple of others. I watched a lot of them seem to end around their 21st day, which I'm not exactly sure why, but there was one guy that was videotaping it, and I guess something happened to his mother or whatever, and he quit on his 21st day. But there were a couple of them actually, and they all seemed to be around the 21st day. So there was actually a pretty good song that the guy did, fasting, 40-day fasting or whatever, that kind of a neat video anyway. But so just to let you know that if you've never fasted before you start something like this, you might want to do a 3-day fast or something like that. But you want to back off before you even start on the sodas and on the coffee or anything with caffeine, because the first 3 days is when you get the major headaches, and it's usually caused by caffeine withdrawals and things like that. So if you start to back off on that before you even start, then you won't have as many headaches. And this time I did not have as many headaches and stuff like I've had in the past. But around day 4, day 3, day 4, even day 5 or whatever, is when all of a sudden you will start your stool. You'll start going to the bathroom, and it will be black as tar. You're expelling a lot of junk that's in you, and there's a reason why God told us to fast, and it was to cleanse us and get a lot of stuff out of us, and but there's more than just cleansing for the fast, and a lot of videos I watched were just talking about cleansing and stuff like that. It had nothing to do with God, but anyway, so I'm not going to film every single day. I'm going to space it out, and there's a lot of different points that I can point out as we go, but I figure I will let you know, um, later on, and this is it. And all right. All right. Today is day 23. Anyway, I was going to answer a couple of questions, but yes, I am still working. I've been working the whole time, because I guess some people have that opportunity when they fast to go up in the middle of the woods and do nothing, but no, I don't have that. Let's see. I'm just going to let you know that about the 7th day, I started breaking out with rashes on my legs and on my arms, and my wife said to let you know that last time I did this fast, I started breaking out in rashes in all the spots where I had received a lot of immune shots for the hospital, and it's just the poison and stuff coming out, so don't be worried or scared and think you got to go to the doctor or something over it. Eventually all that junk's going to come out and your skin's going to clear back up. Let's see, about the 10th day, I stopped being hungry, and truthfully this is the 23rd day, and I'm not hungry at all. God has really graced me because I don't even really smell food right now. Now, I was telling my wife, I do smell stuff if it's bad. I can drive by a restaurant and smell the filthy smell of food. It seems like a lot of Chinese places. And then sometimes when I go in some of the hospitals, and their cafeteria food is just raunchy smelling. But anyway, besides that, let me see what other questions. Oh, by the way, if you have any serious questions and you write F in this and F in that and blah, 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 I'm not going to answer. I'm going to blow you off. So, if you got something serious, seriously put it on there. I also read the way that this one lady that was on there, and the questions and the things people said, and those people just blow off. But anyway, day 23, doing good, and just praying for God's grace and believing that we'll finish this thing up. And it seemed like the first time I did a 40-day fast, he really didn't speak to me until the very end, and I'm ready to start hearing some words from him. All right. Hey, all right. Just wanted to let you know this is basically it should have been day 20, but I kind of went over. I think it's already midnight or something. But anyway, I have 9 more days. So doing good. There were a couple things I wanted to point out. First of all, I read some comments that people wrote. One of them was, hey, if this is a fast like Jesus did, then you shouldn't be drinking water or anything else. And I also read it on another lady's thing, and they wrote all kinds of stuff in the name of Christianity or whatever. But let me just read you something, because they obviously aren't reading their Bible. But in Matthew, Mark, and Luke, John, it doesn't really talk about it, but it's in all of them. But I'm going to read you out of Luke. Luke 4, 1 through 3. And it says, "And Jesus, being full of the Holy Ghost, returned from Jordan, and was led by the Spirit into the wilderness, being 40 days tempted of the devil. And in those days he did eat nothing. And when they were ended, he afterwards hungered." Now notice it didn't say he didn't drink anything, because you know what? Up there in the wilderness, I mean, there are streams and stuff. And says then, "And the devil said unto him, If thou be the Son of God, command this stone that it be made bread." Well, let me tell you this. You know, if it had been water, he had not been drinking water and not eating, he would have tempted him with water first, because your body can only survive several weeks without water. It can survive months without the food, but water is you can't live without it. We're made of water. And of course Jesus answered and said to him, "It is written that man shall not live by bread alone, but by every word of God." So, all these things they've written or whatever, Jesus drank water, but he did not eat food. Oh, and that, one of the reasons is, how did Adam sin? Yes, it was disobedience, but the first thing that caused Adam to sin was food. So, guess what? The first thing that Jesus went and did, he conquered the food. So, that's my point of view. And if you don't like it, write me another email. But, okay, energy-wise, man, it's been like I've been drinking 50 cups of coffee or something. I am just buzzing with energy. Matter of fact, sometimes at night it's been hard to sleep because I got so much energy. I guess I don't know what it is. Your body is just eating off the fuel. By the way, I started this fast at 210, and I am at 175 now, and I still have 9 days to go. Now, when I originally started my first 40-day fast, whatever it was, 8 years ago or something, I was pretty close to probably 275 or something. I was pretty heavy the first time. I don't know if I touched much on diabetes, but there's a lot of people that have problems with diabetes, and what I would urge you to do is to keep an eye on what's going on. Keep it up with your doctor, and as that way he can take you off your medication as it drops down. It'll definitely drop down. One of the reasons I'm fasting is because I want all this generational junk broke off my family. And my wife said to tell you one story that's going on. One of the things is there's diabetes has ran rampant in my family, and I've had enough of it, and so I'm breaking this off. 9 more days, and it's going to be broken off. And but meanwhile, my mother, who has been diabetic, during this whole fast, her blood sugar has dropped, and they keep having to back the medication off, and she keeps going back in. They keep dropping it, and I told her, I said, at the end of this thing, it's cut off. We're chopping the head of this thing off, and it's done. So I would encourage somebody. I'm going to use a Christian term here, but I'm going to encourage somebody, get the balls in your family to stand up and fast for your whole family. What's 40 days without food if you can deliver your family of all this generational curses from then on? Jesus paid the price, yes, but you know what? Everything he does has to come through us, so somebody's got to stand up and do it. All right. One thing, if people are asking you if you're dieting, especially now, because now they're starting to go, dude, why are you losing so much weight? I've just been saying, hey, I'm on a diet deal with my wife. That's good enough. My wife is actually doing the 40-day fast too, but God told her to do it with Ezekiel bread and protein bars. You know, so He may tell you different, especially if you've never fasted before. He may tell you, hey, drink protein shakes. Stay away from all the sweets. He may tell you eat a salad every day. But that's between you and God, and you need to ask. Let's say, a lot of people always say, hey, what have you heard from God? And I have not heard much, but I came home one day, and I have a 3-year-old and a 6-year-old, and I have a 15 and a 19-year-old. But my 3 and 6-year-old are at home, and anyway, they come running up and they gave me a hug, and I said, Lord, I sure do enjoy, when they do that. And I heard them speak, how do you think I feel? And so that's really the only thing I've heard so far that I can say, that I've heard. Day 20, my hunger has been completely gone. I have not been hungry at all. He has graced me. He's took away my sense of smell. I really don't smell any food. I mean, unless I'm just right there next to it, or and the other thing is, me and my wife are both chefs, so it's not wise to try to do recipes when you can't even taste them and see what they taste like. But oh, we talked about rashes. I broke out with even more rashes, but now they are starting to completely clear up. And like I said, don't be fearful. That is just a bunch of poison coming out of your body, and it will go away. And before this is over, He's going to deliver you of all that junk, and He's going to get out of your system. And obviously, I work in the medical field, so I probably take a ton more shots than most of y'all do, and he's getting rid of that. So, like I said, tomorrow starts day 9, and I'm doing good. And I just want to encourage you, some of y'all to stand up, and if you don't just do this for yourself, do it for your family. If you're doing this just to lose weight, don't do it. It's not worth it. Go on a diet. But if you're doing it for yourself and for your family, to break this stuff off, and if you don't understand about it, send me an email, and I will put you in touch to with some people to understand, or whatever. But I just want to say thank y'all for watching, and I will see you on my 40th day. All right. Well, as you probably know or don't know, I completed the fast. I actually completed the fast about 2 weeks ago, but a couple of things. First of all, as I told you, my wife was on 40-day fast too, but she was allowed to have Ezekiel bread, and she was allowed to have protein bars and green tea. I don't know if I mentioned green tea, but she was allowed to have that. And I had told her if she completed her fast that she could go to her favorite restaurant. Well, we live in Texas, and she went to her favorite restaurant, which was in San Francisco. It's a Chinese restaurant there, and she took one of the 15-year-old boy or whatever. It's his birthday. That was his favorite place too, so they went for his birthday and had a great weekend, and all I got was a t-shirt. Okay, so, but let me get back to mine. All right, I completed the 40-day fast. One thing I gotta say is I wish I had taken off the last 3 days from work, because I was sick as a dog. I threw up probably 20 times a day, every day on the last 3 days, and it was just a bunch of acidy stuff Matter of fact, at one point it totally looked like the inside of my intestines or something. You know, it. I can see how easy it would have been to say, "Hey, if you're the Son of God, turn this stone to bread so you can eat it." Because believe me, the bread absorbing the acid and stuff would have felt so much better. But anyway, I completed the fast. One thing I've got to say is never break a fast too fast. On this one, I definitely made that mistake. I did not come off of it good. Matter of fact, because all this stuff was falling into place, and they had a barbecue, and I ate some meat, and I think I ate a little salmon. Oh man, I was sick. Now, if I had to do it over, let me say this is what I would have done. First of all, your uric acid level is terribly high because you have not been eating anything for 40 days but drinking water. Your potassium level is dropped down very low. So a couple things I would have recommended is it takes about 2 months for your metabolism to start to get back to normal. So basically you're just going to gain a lot of weight if you start trying to eat regular foods. But what I would have done if I could have done this over, and I ended up having to do it anyway, but I would have done it from the beginning, I would have got black cherry juice concentrate, mixed up some of that and started drinking that to start helping take that acid level of the uric acid level down. I would have stayed away from any Puritan foods, which are all the red meats, even fish and all that. I would stay away from it. Stuck to, probably the Ezekiel bread, and eating just some of the fruits that are very, low acid fruits, some bananas, especially stuff to bring up your potassium, which would be, like, a full baked potato thing with the skin on, eating some bananas, eating some carrots are very good with potassium, that kind of stuff. Let's see. Salt. Man, stay away from salt. One thing is, your body is, first of all, it's in shock. Okay, you haven't fed it 40 days, so whatever you give it, it is going to grab onto and say, "Hey, he's going to do this to us again." And so, I ate something and I didn't realize it had so much salt in it. I think it was just some peanuts with salt or something. Anyway, my foot completely swelled up from the retention of the salt. I also ended up because of the eating. Some meat or whatever, driving my uric acid levels up. I ended up with gout in both my toes and in my wrist, and it was probably the worst case I've ever seen. It was not good. And to top it off, it was my right wrist, so I couldn't even drive. For 2 days after going off fat, I couldn't even get out of bed. It was that bad. Okay, let's see. Okay, I told you about the cherry juice and the potassium. Okay, waters. Drink lots of distilled water. By now, you can get away with drinking regular water until probably about day 20, and then you start to taste everything, all the chlorine stuff. So you start drinking distilled water. If you need the minerals in it, get some iodine minerals from the health food store and just put a couple of drops per gallon. What it says it right on there what to do. Okay, well, some of the questions. Let's see. Well, first of all, I keep hearing from people is what did you hear from God? Well, I heard a couple things. One thing I heard was a word for pastors. And basically what he said is, if you preach a watered down message, he's going to hold you accountable. That was the gist of it. So if you're out there preaching a watered down message, you are going to be held accountable for it. Okay? One of the things, one night, I don't know if it was Jesus, if it was an angel, whatever, but in a dream, one night, I was given a sword. And the sword had the Star of David on the very bottom of it, and very beautiful looking sword or whatever. I did not realize what the sword was or what it, I didn't understand the whole thing. Later I told a pastor about it, and the pastor said, hey, I want you to come over and see something. And he also told me to give this pastor a word, or to pray over this pastor. Matter of fact, I don't even know if I said anything about the watered down message. I'm pretty sure I did, but if I didn't, I will definitely say it, because he just told me to give this word to every pastor I saw. So, but the sword he gave me, this pastor called me over and says, here, I want you to see something. Well, it was the sword of Solomon, King Solomon's sword, and it looked, pretty much identical to what I'd seen, except for what I saw was not made out of, his was silver too. I looked online and I saw a bunch that were made out of gold or something, but it was a silver looking or color or whatever, but it had the Star of David on the bottom. It had a lot of symbolism that I would like to know more about, because basically, I heard you need to know your sword. Well, what is our sword? The Word of God. We need to know the Word of God better. But to hold this thing, and I made sure I took my wife back to hold it too, but you have to use two hands. I mean, this thing's massive. I think it was 59 inches long, but it was heavy, it was solid. You had to fight with two hands. There's no way you're going in there like you see in the movies with one little hand. That don't work. So I was given this sword. I don't understand all the reasons why. I do understand it was to cut off some stuff. And I was also told that I would give the sword back at the end of the fast to Jesus, and that Jesus and me together would use it to cut some stuff off. And so, a lot of that we've already gone through, but, there's a lot more that I probably don't even know about it. And then towards the end, he came and he said to me, I'm giving you a kingship. And I looked up the word kingship, and it basically is, Jesus is the King of Kings, but there's ones that reign underneath him. And the same thing is going on in the demonic world. Satan is the king of the demonic world, and he's got these kings that reign underneath him. Now, I don't understand all about the kingship, and if there's anybody out there that understands more, hey, I'd love to have an email. Send me information. I'm sure God is going to reveal more to me as we go on here. And there's a lot of other things that happen, but all I can say is if you have more questions, just email me. I'd be glad to get on there and send you information. And there's a lot of other things that I've discovered during this. And all I can say is I'm glad the 40-day fast is over. I did see somebody said, oh, you have to look at so-and-so, he did a 40-day fast. And at the end of his fast, all it said is I guess he completed the fast, but he said that he got very sick and had to have medical attention and everything else. And I bet you it was the exact same problems. And I wish he had said what they were, because that probably would have helped me deal with it, because I would have been thinking about it, and help somebody else. So I hope this 4-part series helps anybody that's fasting, and I'd be glad to answer any questions. As long as I said, if they're not attached to the F in this and F in that, and because if they are attached to that, I'm just going to blow you off. By the way, let me tell you what happened this morning. I was in surgery, and there was a nurse circulator and who kept using the F word over and over again. And anesthesia walks in and says, oh, She says, you know, I've heard the F-bomb like 5 times. I haven't got in the room. This is not good. And I said, well, the bad thing is, you know, this is his prayer time with God that he's using it. And I tell you what, he shut up. Didn't hear another word out of this guy through the whole time there or whatever. And then I have to say another thing happened too. I was in another facility and they told me this doctor, all he does is cuss. You know, he you know, every case goes bad. He comes in cussing, screaming, and raining. And I said, no, wait a minute. I said, you have authority over that. And they said, what? I said, you're a believer in Christ, right? And they said, well, yeah. I said, well, you have authority over that. I spit on my hand. I went out, I wiped the top of the doorpost, and I said, we put the blood right now over this doorpost, and this doctor will not bring his foul language in here. He will not speak these words. This case is going to go wonderful. And you know, all I can say is, man, I could hear him down the hall just cussing away. When he hit that door, it went from cussing to whistling the song. And he whistled this song and kind of told some jokes. They were clean jokes through the whole case. And that was it. And afterwards they said, what did you do to him? I said, look, I didn't do anything. You know, but first of all, Jesus gave us the authority. So Jesus did it. I said, but you have to start taking it. You know, you don't have to put up with that anymore. So, end of stories. Like I said, have any questions, give me an email. And I will try to come back and follow up in a couple of weeks or whatever, and just let you know how it's going. I'm going to try to stick to low diet because I do not want to gain all this weight back either. So, and either does my wife. So, all right, thank y'all.